Hello, and welcome to episode 133 of Unqualified Game Chat. I'm talking a little slow because I saw myself. I snuck a look at myself in the video, and I'm realizing I'm wearing the same sweater as last week, and I apologize
Zarya doesn't change his
for that.
clothes.
Yeah, that's
Goes
what everyone's thinking, and I
he goes
decided to
1 week.
address it.
Yeah.
I'm addressing it in the front. I'm wearing the
It's
same
been
sweater.
1 week since he changed his shirt.
It's you know what, when I told you before the show when I was like, give me 20 minutes, I
Yeah.
had every I was going to take a shower and like
Yeah.
do my hair and get ready and look good for you, and then I started like checking my inbox and started responding to emails. Next thing I know, dude, it was like 23 minutes later, and I was like, god damn it, I can't do that to Spencer.
Yeah.
He's waiting
Oh.
at the edge of his fucking seat for me.
It is very nice that you put in that much effort for these watchers because I don't do shit. I like look in the mirror and it's like I go like, okay, and then I go in front of the camera. Yeah.
In 2015 I did an unboxing for Op Rainfall. Maybe it was 2014. And someone says, man, Azaria's fat.
Oh my god.
It
God.
in my head, dude. Every time. I'm still thinking about it. That was 11 years ago, maybe 12 years ago.
2% BMI and you'd be like,
dude,
I'm still fucking fat. That guy
that's
on
all
he might be like dead by now after that much time. Like that person might not have made it through fucking COVID. And you're like, those words they said when they were 12 haunt you because it was so mean. Yeah,
assholes,
100%.
man. And you know what though? I was pretty fat.
That's the real challenge with it is when you look back on those videos and then like you look at yourself and you're like, ooh.
Maybe I was mad at them because they were right.
It's crazy. I can go through like I can watch this podcast for like because we do it pretty. Someone's gonna be like, you guys don't do it weekly. We do it pretty consistently.
We do pretty weekly.
So I can watch through like the last 4+ years of like weekly to monthly ish, and then be like, oh wow, I was really fucking fat in 2022. Would be like, oh wow, okay, I'm getting a little better in 2025. It's like it's very interesting to have that like moving scale visually available at all times. It's very strange.
I think gradually over the years I've definitely learned to maintain my weight, but I've also gotten better at doing my hair.
Yeah, hair's a big thing.
Yeah, I've had my moments. If you go to like the 2019 shows of Noisy Pixel, I wasn't at my best. But we live and we learn.
Exactly. We live and learn, just like in Sonic Adventure 2. I feel I'm lucky that my hair just does this. I don't need to put any thought into it.
Perfectly,
so I can I wake up and I'm like, all right. But it is, if it wasn't a style that worked on me, that would suck. And I would have to learn as well how to do it.
Well, I'm sorry for that tangent, but let's get back to business.
Yes.
Here with me today is no other than my perfect haired brother, Spencer, the Legacy.
Hello, everyone. My thighs and ass are sore because I started a new leg day, and it was 2 days ago, and I still when I go to sit down, I go and I took like a hot bath.
I skip leg day because I say I run. I don't need to do leg day, but when I do leg day, I still get the 2 days of soreness.
Intense. But you know what? That means it's friggin' working. That means I'm gonna have Baki character legs soon. So we'll be perfect. But
do those cow stretches and get that dumpy looking.
Get that, fresh. Big ass Ace Bonanza booty.
Get that Ace booty.
Booty Nanza, yeah.
Booty Nanza.
Because like before it was just like leg press and leg raise and stuff, but now it's like the step ups and you have the resistance band around your ankles and you're doing it's murder.
Boy's gonna get a dumpy.
I'm gonna have a big dumpy. Everyone's gonna be like everyone at PAX. Oh, I won't have it by PAX. That's like that's a month away. But they'll be like, I see it developing.
Yeah, I see visions of a dumpy. I see a little.
They'll have a That's a Raven vision. They'll be like, I saw it. You're dumpy.
I've been working on my dumpy. I can't wait to show you. But aside,
That's the real thing about Pat. That's why we're meeting up. Is we're gonna compare asses.
we're gonna just compare
Uh, we're
asses.
gonna post on Noisy Pixel the dumpy off. Who has the best ass? And it's gonna be up
Um,
to you, the viewers, to decide.
Speaking of viewers, we recorded this episode a couple weeks ago, but we posted it on YouTube, and it got some. We'll open the show this week because we don't have much to talk about other than some of the games we're playing and general stuff like that. But we posted our podcast episode 131 about the games media collapsing, and a lot of people had some stuff to say
Some spicy
uh,
takes.
about it, and I kind of want to put it to the show, and then we can kind of
Respond.
discuss.
Yeah, so we're gonna
Yes.
debate you. Yeah. Prove me wrong.
Um, so let's go to the most like I guess what is the word for when you're antagonistic one?
I was gonna say I thought of so many funny, nasty words I could have said that would have been very
Yeah,
funny,
yeah, yeah. I was like,
but
that's
very
what they were
rude.
going through my head. They were
Yeah,
going through my head.
I don't even mean
Um,
them. They just would have been funny to say in that moment.
so Kirill Neko says, okay, I rarely post. And they said really post, but I'll fix their grammar because I'm an editor.
Shit, we're
And
already getting
that's
bitchy. We're already
and I'm able to do that.
2 words in, and we got Joan Rivers on the podcast.
Okay, I rarely post, but this is getting ridiculous. Oh, stop it. They don't know. We got this out during the GG decade. We got this out during GG decades ago. They knew, and they did. Remember the Mass Effect 3 review from IGN? Yeah, the only page that was made that way, with ME3 ads across all of it and the rest of the website, with an IGN employee being in the game itself. Stop BSing us, folks. Or Dragon Age 2 reviews from game trailers where the other journos called out the reviewer for a BS review score, or Battlefield 4 from EA fly-in event for journals to review the game in Vegas for supervised 6-hour review sessions. F off, stop covering journals assets. Oh, well, I think really there's three, after reading it, there's 3 points here. So let's start with the remember Mass Effect 3 IGN review, the only page that was made this way with ME3 ads across all of it. Do you know why this happens?
Well, IGN companies like IGN as well that are that large, the editorial department and the marketing department are different. They're not. It's such a big company, and this isn't me making this up. I years ago interviewed Colin Moriarty and asked him about this, and he told me this is yes, the editorial department and the marketing department, they aren't very involved with each other at all because they're entirely different things with entirely different purposes. Marketing department figures out the ads and how they get the AdSense revenue and whatnot from that, and then the editorial department's on its own reviewing the thing. So the marketing department doesn't go over and say, "Well, we're getting some banner ads from Mass Effect 3, so and you need to give it at least an 8." That's not that. That's not. I understand how these assumptions come about, but I think there is an admittedly confusing tendency to see outlets as hive minds, where it's like the I'll admit it's a very funny post, but the Imagine Babies God Hand comparison of the scores, where they're like, "Well, GameSpot gave Imagine Babies a higher score than God Hand." And it's like the games came out years apart on different consoles by different reviewers at one outlet. So it's like it is funny the concept of that post, but that's not the same person didn't play God Hand and Imagine Babies. And even if they did, they're reviewing them based on like what they're going for different things. So it's
Yeah, they're different
like
games.
yeah, it's not IGN isn't giving the score, the person at IGN is, and that might be IGN's score, but it's not coming from a collective. It's coming from one person that maybe they talk with an editor and they're like, I was thinking an 8 for this. Does it read more like an 8.5? And then they think about blah blah. There's there's no conspiracy behind it because the thing I think at this point is why would there be? Nobody trusts game journalists anymore, and nobody trusts outlet scores anymore. So what incentive would there be for Capcom to be like, give Resident Evil 9 a 10, and then they were to do it, everyone would be like, oh, this is bought. So what would the incentive be
Yeah,
at
you
this
can't really
point?
afford everybody, right?
No, like, what would the incentive be at this point for paid reviews from outlets that everybody decries as corrupt anyway? Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't really, I don't know. I don't think scrutiny of media outlets is an inherently bad thing. I think it's an important thing to a degree because you want to keep them honest. But I think it's very strange to hone in on review content in that regard rather than like the actual news side, because reviews are opinions. Like at the end, and everyone has drastically different. Because there's another comment somewhere in there about it's like, well, you can't say that the journalists aren't biased when they liked Dragon Age Veilguard, and it's like that does that it's a review. Like that's what a review is. I love lots of games that people hate, and I hate lots of games that people love, and that's what you get from a review is the person's perspective.
Hmm.
Obviously, there are bad reviews. Like if you see someone like a 1 out of 10 for a completely functional game, but they just didn't like it, then it's like, yeah, that is extreme. Like someone did that for Hogwarts Legacy, and I don't agree with J.K. Rowling. I hate that nasty witch and her evil beliefs, but that's not a 1 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
Like that's not, so that kind of thing. I understand that being like, okay, that's not a fair review, but as long as you're justifying in your review, which I guess most people aren't reading, they skip to the score, so that might lead to this situation. But as long as you're justifying and explaining why you feel a way about a game, and that kind of lines up with your score, um, I don't think there's an invalid review. There's certainly ones where you'd be like, well, I don't feel that way about that aspect of a game, so I would enjoy it. This person gave this game a 4 because they don't like turn-based or slow progression systems, but I like those things. So we disagree on that. I can see why they gave it a 4, but so there are different perspectives for sure, but I think you'd be surprised at how few professionally done reviews are actually unfair, like not true compared to. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, but
No, no,
yeah.
no. You're doing. I. It's it's tough to say because the way that this person presents this argument is that a very specific IGN
Mhm,
Mass Effect 3. In my head, the problem with that though is that Mass Effect 3 critically is a 93 on Metacritic.
mhm,
Um, it got over 10 100s,
mhm.
but or 10 out of 10s, but IGN isn't even one of those 10 out of 10s. They gave
Yeah,
it a 95. Okay. So in your example, you're telling me that all of these other websites gave it a 10 out of 10 and they didn't even get paid by
yeah.
EA. So, so
It's because IGN's the big one that everyone can name. They can all go, well, he can't spell ignorant without IGN, and yes, okay, that's clever back then. But
and
yeah,
I
like
guess,
it doesn't make sense.
yeah, I guess the IGN employee being in the game didn't get it a 10 out of 10, huh? It just gave it a 90.
That's the thing is, I can
Yeah.
understand feeling uncomfortable with that, but also like, was that employee
Well,
involved
let's
in the
well let's
review
let's
at all?
well,
Like,
why not? Why not do a little bit of investigative journalism?
if Azario was in Life is Strange and I reviewed it, I would not be like, this game's good because Azario's in it. I'd be like, I still don't like this, but
You know who
it's
reviewed
funny
Mass
that
Effect 3?
Azario's in it. Was it Greg
Colin
Murray?
Moriarty.
Oh, Moriarty. Okay, there you go. It
Dude,
was one of the, because they were the
I
big
don't
two
even need a
names.
fucking check. You fucking
Yeah,
bitch. I don't even fucking check. Colin doesn't give a fuck who's
100.
in Mass. If it's not
Yeah,
Colin who's in Mass Effect 3,
he does not
he
give a
does not
shit.
give a fuck.
And I
One second.
understand.
Let's see. Is
I
Colin
understand
Moriarty in?
people having perspectives on Colin, one way or the other, etc. But I don't think you can argue that when it comes to like his journalistic principles, especially at IGN, like he was not the type of person to be swayed by an IGN person being in the
You don't
game or something.
understand, dude. Guess who the fucking character in Mass Effect 3 is? Guess who the
Naomi
IGN
Kyle,
person? Deep cut, dude. Deeper cut.
deeper cut.
Jessica fucking Chobot, bro.
Wow, that is a
She's a
deep cut.
developer now. She fucking
Yeah,
works in game development. Like,
Yeah, okay. I think we can say with 100% certainty that
Jessica
did not
Chobot
affect Colin
is
Moriarty's perspective on Mass Effect 3 at
no
all. And
one.
I'm not we're laughing and saying, and I'm not saying this to like demean you, the person who commented, and be
Yes.
like, you're a fucking idiot. Because
No.
I understand where these perspectives can kind of come from, especially in such a highly vitriolic internet space as it is now. And I understand the tendency to scrutinize large outlets is an important thing in a lot of ways. But I do think you need to kind of I think this kind of thinking can be the result of an echo chamber. And if
Hmm.
you zoom out a little bit, like we said, and you see, oh, 10 outlets gave it a 10 out of 10, and one of the ones that didn't is the one that was bought, is like it's a little absurd. And again, and I can
And
understand if you don't understand, like if you don't know that editorial and marketing are different, so you go, oh well, it's weird to see an ad for this game on a review of the game. I can understand why that would visually, if you don't know a lot about journalism and large sites and stuff like that, be like that's weird. But yeah, pretty if you look into it, it's pretty clear cut that it's not there's not a IGN deep state doing anything nefarious for
no.
Mass Effect 3. It's not that crazy.
And Colin is probably the one person
Yeah, and if
that
anybody you could be 100% sure wasn't going to be affected by Jessica Chobot being in Mass Effect 3, it was Colin Moriarty. Because like, come on.
Dude, I'm going down now. I'm looking into the other parts of the comment for Dragon Age 2. Uh, s- s- Kristen Steamer reviewed Dragon Age 2 for IGN. I haven't talked to her in a while. Anyway, oh, okay. So the next point is on Dragon Age 2 review by Game Trailers, where the other journals called out the reviewer for a BS review and score. I'm not going to look too much into this. What I will say though, and you can kind of jump in and say how you feel about this idea, is that there's been reviews put on Noisy Pixel where I want to call out BS, not
100%.
on not on the score, but on the review. Like a game that
100%.
I thought sucked, and the person gave it a 9, or a game I gave a 9, and someone else thinks it sucks.
Absolutely. There any outlet that has, like, any more than 1 or maybe 2 people, you're going to disagree
We
with
get yeah,
people's scores or thoughts on games because you have different values and different opinions on what makes a game good and what makes a game bad and what you enjoy in a game. So 100%, like it's not you don't have to be steadfast and like resolute in being like, no, we all agree with, and that's again an extension of the hive mind kind of thought of an outlet that they all have to think that, but no, like it's a bunch of editors and writers and they all are completely different people and they all have their own perspectives on these things. So it makes sense that a lot of people are going to be like, that's not great. If you're calling it out publicly, that's a whole other matter, but that's still just a matter of disagreement on the game. Like I don't,
yeah.
you know.
I think it's what's interesting is about reviews. I feel are the easiest things to write. I think the
Oh yeah,
playing the game
absolutely.
is the hardest
Yeah,
thing, but reviews
especially
are
pre-release.
yeah, reviews come really easy to me if I just sit down and start writing. Um, but even I've written bad reviews. Even
Oh yeah,
I look back at some scores and I'm like, you know what, maybe I was just a little too hyped. But the
yeah,
idea
me
of
too.
the idea of the score and the idea of your feelings on it is a very moment to moment thing. And I think there are reviewers who tend to, and even maybe I give a little grace in some scores depending on budget, team size,
And
and
that
what.
all comes down to the person. Again, like
Yeah,
not the person. And yeah, there is like I 100% have reviews that I could look back on and be like, oh, that sucks. Like that's like a different brain wrote that. Like that's so
yeah,
different from the way I think now. But like that's also just part of growing is when you get if you don't look at like your past stuff and be like I would improve this or change this, then you might not have developed that much. So it's a good thing to be like, oh, look how far I've come, or like, look, I don't agree with that anymore, that kind of thing. That's just the passage of time and progression of your person, I assume. Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? If you think that not other journals still don't talk shit about other people's reviews, then you're wrong because we all.
It's
It
a
may,
it's a high school bitchy clique,
yeah.
thing, 100%.
This is the interesting point where I kind of think we can both vouch for and talk on, and I think we might even have differing opinions on it. They mentioned the Battlefield 4 event where EA flew in
Yeah, events are always
journalists
a sticking point for some people.
in Vegas, yeah, for supervised 6 hour review sessions. Um, this happens.
This does,
I don't,
100%.
I wouldn't say they're,
I think there might be a bit of misunderstanding about what supervised means. It's
yeah.
not they're not going like, "You like this, right? You
It's the
what are you
developer.
writing?"
It's the developers that are standing behind you. They're
Yeah,
not paying for security or people. It's just the developers
and it's
taking notes on what you're
largely for
doing.
embargo purposes. It's
Yeah,
largely to make sure you're not, like, filming the pre-release footage on your
there's
phone.
stuff like that too.
It's not in every obvious like, I can't speak to every event ever, but I've been to a lot of preview events and review events and press shows, and I've never had them try to sway my perspective during, like, closed door supervised thing.
They
It's
don't.
truly, like, em the supervision part is mostly either embargoes or so that they can be like they see you get stuck in a bug or something, they'll be like, "Oh, press these, and then you'll go to the dev menu, and then" that kind of thing. Like, it's not yeah, it's not what you think. And
I
again,
was
we're not attacking you.
no.
These are
Well,
things that you wouldn't know if you're
well,
not a
well. There might
journalist.
even be some truth to this too,
Yeah,
because
on
and I think it could be a product of where the industry is on paying these
mhm,
writers a living wage, because I can
yes.
promise you the
That's hard to
most
find.
the your average writer that maybe you see is probably making around 30,000 a year,
If if that.
if that, guys. And
And that's from, like, a
these
bunch of different outlets and freelance, and it's, like, it's not a salary.
before like before COVID, there was a lot less of these events and they were more designed for content creators. Like I
Yeah.
remember Elden Ring having like a content creator specific press event.
Mhm.
Um Maybe it was Dark Souls 3 or something. I don't know. It was one of those. But and I say that because before COVID, everything was either LA or San Francisco. So you could just have your press event in San Francisco and get GameSpot, IGN, get some people to. I would drive in there, and then I lived in Oakland, so I didn't need to go very far.
Mhm.
But you had to live around there to go. Will from Monster Vine,
Mhm.
Spencer's website, he lives in San Francisco, so it's like you would have to move there to be in the industry. And after COVID, I think once IGN closed and all the offices closed, there was uh there was definitely a hard part for the PR and marketing teams of these developers to try and fill in these preview events when nobody was centrally located anymore. Everybody moved away. Everyone moved
Everything
back
was remote.
home for a lot of,
Yeah.
yeah. And so the industry did kind of change in that I after COVID I saw a lot more, and after the lockdown and stuff I've been seeing a lot more like paid um come fly in events. I do think that it is that it and I can't speak for everyone in this industry, but I think depending on the person's circumstances, it could be a very big incentive for
Mhm.
them to work in this industry, to be flown out to um LA or Vegas or something. It could be nice for them to get out, but in my years there's never been pressure on these events, and I go to more than you do, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to like I I live in the middle of California, so if I can, I will drive to these events, but there are times where I've accepted
Flights. Yeah.
the flights and the hotel. I don't like it because it means that I'm stuck in a hotel and I can't review anything or I can't write anything. Pretty much just sitting there. But sometimes it needs to be done. Um, it's It's weird. I don't.
I think it also really comes down to the individual. Like there's no pressure
It's
from
got to
the
be the
people.
individual. Yeah.
Like there's no I've never, and I'm sure that it's happened before, but I've never experienced from any of the PR people that I've worked with like any form of pressure to enjoy or like be positive about. I've been flown
Yeah.
to Vegas and San Francisco and LA, and it's I think it's the individual who's writing, because I feel like we mentioned this on a previous podcast, but um game journalism, a lot of people who enter it don't necessarily have journalistic training or education. So they don't necessarily, like when I went to college for journalism, and you learn about like ethical practices and how you go about reporting, and uh like the kind of code kind of thing that you like stick by for yourself. So people who don't learn that stuff might just be like, wow, this was all so fun, and they might be more prone to be positive about it, but that's more because they don't get it. And is that an issue with like unqualified people? Oh, that's the name of our podcast. Unqualified people uh
Yeah.
being given like these these jobs without training. Yeah, like 100% you can argue that like that's an issue, but I truly don't think that it's the PR or the outlets responsible for that kind of positive, because I was flown to Vegas to cover, I think it was like a Monster Energy racing game, and I had a wonderful time in Vegas. I met lots of press people and PR people, and it was wonderful. Um, and they spent a lot of money on food and stuff, and I gave it like a 2 out of 5 because it wasn't a good game. Like most people are able to just kind of separate the reason I went was the opportunity to preview it
Play.
and
Yeah.
to network and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, like, in the preview, I was like, "Oh, yeah, these things look neat, and, like, this could be a lot of fun," and then when I reviewed it, I was like, "Oh, no, it's not fun. It's, kinda janky and busted, and it's not very enjoyable." So that's what you write. Like, it's not I think it really is the individual, because it depends on how you approach that kind of thing, and I outlets could definitely maybe, what's the word? Like, filter better to be like,
A little more transparent.
this person has less experience, so they're probably gonna be, like, more swayed by this experience, or if anything, like, train them. Be like,
Yeah.
"This is, like, you can't this doesn't affect your opinion, this is just, like, an opportunity to preview it early. Everything else is just,
Well,
like,
how
strenuous."
doesn't it affect your opinion when you go to Disneyland? If you were asked to write a journal entry immediately after you went to Disneyland, you're
That's
gonna
yeah,
be a
the
little more
emotional high.
excited. Yeah,
You
you're
walk
gonna
out
be
of a
riding
cinema,
that high.
and you're like,
Yeah,
that ending was
yeah.
exciting," and then you're like,
Tell
"Oh,
me about
shit."
this movie. But then like you sit with it for a couple days and you're like, oh, maybe I
Yeah, and that's just
well,
humanity, that's just human, like, to
yeah. And you know
high
what? Like,
emotions.
so I went to the EA event that I went to that was big was the Star Wars as a Jedi,
Jedi
what the new
Survivor.
one
Oh,
for
the newest
the new
one,
one.
yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Um, uh, and when I got there, I didn't really understand what I thought I was just playing the game, but it was a Disneyland trip, and it
Mhm.
was this after party, and then it was the preview event the next day. And so we go to Disneyland, dude. They took us all to Disneyland, all the press people to Disneyland. They shuttled us, had like an after party, dude. And that day, too, a bunch of like websites shut down. So
Oof.
there was
Mhm.
websites there, writers there that didn't even have. They
Like, the
just got
website they
laid
were
off.
there for got shut down?
They just got laid
Oh
off
my
that day.
god, that's
Yeah,
insane.
it was like I don't know, it was
That's the
some.
industry.
Yeah, it was gamers or Valnet layoff, like a full like sweep, one of
Yeah.
those. And then EA had layoffs there. And so while I was at this after party, I was like, dude, if like I could have just
Oh
did
my
all this at
god.
home. And
Yeah.
anyway, I decided not to to review that game because of this event. And those are my ethics. You know, that's my
Yeah,
personal ethics because I know
yeah.
that I just went to fucking Disneyland. I just fucking they gave me a lightsaber. What like and I let me look. Let's get this straight. I could have reviewed it. I wouldn't have.
I'm sure you could have like
Yeah,
unbiased reviewed it because that's you're
I
capable of doing that.
I don't know these people anything. If anything, they
If
owe
you don't feel
me.
comfortable doing it, yeah, exactly. You would never like say but if you don't feel comfortable doing it, that's also like a personal ethical decision to be like, I I feel I could review this, but I don't know like
Yeah, and it
100%.
was a preview event. It was not a review
Yeah.
event.
Mhm.
Um, uh,
I
it's
think there's a
it,
lot more gray than people think in this.
right.
It's not black and
There are
white.
people that don't sell their stuff. There are people that do sell their stuff.
Yeah,
There are people that won't that only do guides, and there are people that only play a specific genre. There are so many writers out there, and
yeah,
to boil them down to you're all corrupt is the the boogeyman
yeah.
way of
The amount of people
keeping.
paid $25,000 a year because they gave Resident Evil a lower score, which means that they're part of a cabal of, like, open critic. It's just not how like,
I can assure you guys that
it's
content
not how it
creator that's
works.
rage baiting is making so much more money than
They're making more on that video than
than
fucking
yeah
the
than
people
the
who are ma
journalists
like,
got paid for
it's
whatever they wrote.
crazy. It's and I like, I think a big part of that is that rage baiting has become such like, the grift has become such an easy thing for people to make money off of because everyone is mad all the time because everything kinda sucks a lot and is getting worse.
Yeah.
But you also like, I think it's kinda the same mind as conspiracy theories where people will be like, if someone's, like, parent dies in a car accident, some people are like, "Well, this is because, they were a cop, and there's this organization that wanted to take him out, so it's blah, blah, blah." But it's like, no, things just like, nothing's that things just happen. Like, if the last couple of years of, like, international politics haven't shown you that there is no secret group making things work properly, I don't like, there's not there everything is kinda chaos a lot of
Yeah.
the time, and it's never as complicated as you might hope it is. It's truly just people, like, doing stuff, and sometimes that is like, there are bad things, like
Yeah.
the Kane and Lynch thing with Jeff Gerstmann, 100% reprehensible thing that happened to him, and those things should be called out when they happen and vilified, but that's so much more the exception than the rule to like 100 times more than you think. That
Yeah, because whatever content creator that you're following that you think won't
yeah,
accept $100,000 check to do something, you are
yeah.
fucking dead wrong
They don't even have the
because
pretense of having to be
they're just
professional.
mad that nobody's offering it to them, guys.
Yes. Like,
Eh,
they I assume people get mad because journalists like, journalism is supposed to be a pretty sacred thing. It's definitely not treated that way anymore by a lot of people, but it is supposed to be like a factual kinda sacred thing. Um, so, like, if you go like, "Oh, well, journalists have to be more strict and held to more of a code," which is true, but to be like content creators are better. They don't like, I love lots of content creators and, like, they're pretty a lot of them are pretty open when they're sponsored by shit, and that's fine. And, get that bag. I'm not holding anybody
yeah.
fucking, I'm not being like, "You shouldn't take money from Raid Shadow Legend." Like, if Raid Shadow Legends reached out to Ace fans right now, I would 100% like, I fucking love Raid Shadow Legends. I'm sure everybody who knows you would be like, "That's very clearly bullshit, and he's just getting that money."
Yeah.
And that's fine. I get that. Like, just
Yeah.
it's a horrible
It's
economic
us
time
against
right
them
now.
right now, you know?
Yeah, like, you need the money, sure, but, like, don't I think it's you shouldn't be like, "Well, the real bad guys are the game journalists," because for the like, and I understand that, I think I said this last week, I understand that a lot of game journalists can be really annoying
Mhm.
on social media, and I'm saying that I have been too. Everyone's annoying on social media. It's just that game journalists are like are part of everyone. So it
Mhm.
100%. But that doesn't someone being annoying doesn't mean they're in a like a shadow organization to get Dragon Age Veilguard's score above an 8. Like, and also, didn't that team just like get canned anyway? So who cares
Yeah.
if it what a company gave the Dragon Age game? Like, they're not making another one. So
Yeah.
you got what you wanted. So why you're picking at corpses. Like there's nothing. I I think this all ties back to everyone needs to chill a little. Everyone
Yeah,
needs to sit back and be like, it's video games. This isn't that big a deal. This isn't. And I'm not saying that in the way I want to get ahead of it. I'm not saying that in the way that like game journalists should be able to do anything they want because it's not real journalism, it's game. So they should be able to lie and cheat. No, but I'm saying like there's so much stuff going on all the time
yeah,
that it's easy to get caught up in it and get mad. But like again, most game journalists and stuff are just maybe annoying people trying their best to do stuff and make very minimal money. And they're
yeah.
yeah, like I fully agree that there should be better training and education should be available to people to be able to be better
Well,
journalists.
if you
But
look at reviews from the 90s, dude, the
oh yeah,
reviewers then had to review every difficulty of a
yeah,
game. If it
yeah,
had difficulty things, like there was
fuck,
a
that's bad.
like reviews in general have changed to very much what I think is a personal blog, any by the writer.
Mhm.
So I think the best approach as you move through video game the industry, assign like lock into the writers who you trust, who align
Yes.
with your ethics. If I put my ethics on the table, Noisy Pixel doesn't put any gambling links in our website, even though we're offered thousands and thousands of dollars for them, and all of your favorite websites probably include them, not Monster Vine. Noisy Pixel does not
Yeah.
uh,
It's
put in those
everywhere now.
gambling links. We do not.
Everywhere.
Yeah, we don't accept gambling. We don't accept sponsored posts on our website either.
Yeah, that's another one.
So,
Yeah.
like, if you go to like somewhere like Siliconera, you'll find like a post on a car, and it's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Like, and it's just a random car
Yeah.
post. Anyway, we don't do any of that. I When we do sponsorships, the writer
Bro
is
said doo
never
doo.
ooh,
Ooh.
the writer doesn't talk to the marketing people, um and doesn't talk to the marketing people for sure, but the client or whoever is paying for the sponsorship too. I separate all of that. It's it's I separated from myself too. There's some
Oh,
things
do
that
you?
I that we have Nate, our marketing guy, just take, and this is a reason why last year we trained him up to just take it, because in my head I was getting a little, but if I'm handling the sponsorships and helping writing them, that's like so incentivized for me that
That's
it
fair.
feels a little gross.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think I have to think this way too, because I do co-own the website with Mark, so we
Mhm.
share uh a percentage of
Responsibility,
that
yeah.
yeah, the responsibility, and
You're the face of it.
I would rather just put that all on put that let that live somewhere else, and if I need to
Mhm.
be brought in, I'll be brought in, but for most of the time I don't need to be into the conversations, or like signing stuff, or like talking about what goes into the video and stuff. I don't need to be in all of that. um Nate knows our boundaries, and it's it's a fine line, because there is a lot of money to be made in this industry if you know the right hands to shake, if you know the right people to talk to. Yeah, it's what sucks is that you have to give up a lot of your independence for that
Mhm.
funding.
Yeah.
There is an implication that you are going to be there if the relationship is live, and like with the so say like a tech company, um like Asus or something, wants to like do 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 work with us.
Saying
If Asus wants to do work with us in a sponsored capacity, not a general review capacity, there is an implication that, one, we will respond to their emails, we will hit those deadlines that they propose, um but there also becomes a mutual respect that if we do cover something that is on leaning maybe to a negative side of them, we now before that will reach out to them for comment, on the coverage that we're doing. So there is, but that only makes our connections better in my head. It's like I can't hide the news from people that I can't hide
Yeah.
the news. We could just cover it. Um, but if it's someone that we're working with, I will always give them the I covered I covered the Critical Reflex over December who had there was an issue with their it was like a sexual harassment thing with one of their higher ups, and the young girl came out with all of her videos and stuff. Nobody wrote about it. I was the only one to write something about it because Critical Reflex is in this funding period where they are actively funding little pockets of this industry,
Yeah.
and no one wanted to fucking touch this.
Mhm.
I was the only one, guys. It's crazy and I tried to send it to other writers. So in my head, I can go down the conspiracy hole all I want. Oh, this company, and I know they're in a funding boom right now. Um, they're not paying anybody, but they are putting out releases and games that could bring a lot of traffic. So almost nobody wants to touch it because coverage for those games will likely be good. But you know what? I'll
And
cross
that
that
is
bridge
an issue
when
that, like, should be addressed by more people, 100%,
right,
like, that yeah,
right.
but
So those are my ethics, and you know
yeah,
what? Some people don't like them. Some people do. I I can suck a dick. I can walk into a room and fucking put
schmooze
myself
it
out
up.
there. Yeah, I could. I'm really good at that, but I'm also really good at standing on business and knowing that my community and the things that my staff built are fucking uh they are like you can't touch them.
Locked
They
in,
are
locked up,
yeah,
tight.
they are everything. They're the ring, they're like you can't touch it.
All your
You
I's and
can't fuck
T's are
with it.
crossed.
You
Dotted
can't
your
cut
I's.
the line. If I don't like your game, I'm not gonna fucking cover it. It's like it's I mean for sponsorships, I'll cover your game if I don't like it. I mean for
Yeah,
sponsorships, if I don't think it fits in the noisy pixel world, I'll just say, hey, this is not gonna do well here.
yeah,
Um It's those are my ethics, man. And you know what?
yeah,
Like, I understand why people think this way because it's almost a projection of what they would do if they were in this situation.
mhm,
Well, you know what? If I got this free backpack, I would definitely sell it on eBay for 500.
yeah,
Maybe you would, dude, but I still have my Attack on Titan Final Battle 2 backpack in my
yeah,
closet. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's also a snowball effect where it's like what started as like, yeah, there are legitimate things that should be confronted, kind of snowballed and was definitely egged on by bad actors to the point where it's
Yeah.
like everything from every game journalist is stupid and wrong and evil and corrupt, and it's like just statistically that's not possible. Like
Yeah.
it's just find the I like yeah, stay sharp and vigilant about
Right.
like bad bad actors and bad press, but find for reviews specifically people whose ethics and tastes line up with yours and follow them because like if you like games that if you're like Dragon Quest and things like that I like, and then you see that I really like a game that you might not have thought of playing, then oh then there's a good chance that you'll like playing it too because we're similar. But to be like, this person who is ideologically and in all matters of taste the complete opposite of me, like the game that I didn't like, they must be corrupt. It's like, no, they're just very different from you and they look for different things. Like, yeah, that's what I would say. I would say we've pretty much taken up a whole podcast.
Yeah, sorry about
I
yeah, but
really don't want the commenter to feel as though this is like a um like a reply video. Remember those back in the day?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they'd be
yeah.
like, "This
It
is my
is.
reply to
Well,
Shane Dawson."
what they brought up is what I've
Yeah,
heard a lot though.
yeah.
So
No, it yeah.
I appreciate them even like
This
being
isn't us, like, screaming at you. This is more us addressing a wider point that you mentioned that has been seen everywhere for 20 plus years. And yeah, it is just that, like, I understand why you
yeah, because
think
there's
that
people
way, and
that
you've definitely been conditioned to 100%. Um, but it's not really like that at all. And the way that it is a lot less interesting than you think it
yeah.
is.
Because
Yeah.
you know what, like we're defending the industry, but I'll tell you,
It's
there's
got
not a lot of
problems.
yeah, there are not a lot of people that like me in the
No, it's
industry.
got there are huge issues in the
There are,
games journalism
but
industry.
here I am
100.
defending them. Here I
But
because
yeah,
I know they're good I know they're
but
fine
it's not an
people. They don't like
inherently
me.
evil thing. It's not like an inherently wretched and dark and evil thing at
Yeah.
all. It's
Yeah.
just a thing.
It's
Like, it's
just
neutral, just as anything else
yeah.
is, and it's the people involved, the individuals involved, etc., who you have to look to and decide whether you want to follow them or not, just like you would with a content creator or anybody else.
Well,
But if you have any questions,
yeah, please let us know
just let us
in the
know.
comments below.
Yeah, I really don't
Sorry for
want
taking the
anyone
whole
to.
episode with that.
Yeah,
But you know what? We've never actually done an episode like this.
we always like
Uh,
touch on stuff, but
touch
we've
on
never done
it,
like a
but
full episode of like, hey, this is how it typically works. I don't know. Yeah,
and I guess after all of it, I will say it comes down to the person. Because are
yeah.
there people out there that go on these events and write something positive? Maybe,
I'm sure statistically, yeah, there are.
but
Like,
I'm not one of them, and I don't
yeah,
know any that are.
we're
So
not them, and we know lots of people who aren't them, so we feel it's unfair to say that
yeah,
everybody is them.
yeah. How about this? If ever I find one, I'll tell you who it is.
Yeah,
I have
we
no
yeah.
problem.
I have no yeah, it's
Yeah, nobody's gonna do shit to me.
yeah, it's really, I don't know. I think that a lot of this just leads back to nothing, and it's like, if you don't like someone's reviews and shit, just don't read them, and then they
Yeah.
won't get the engagement, and they won't get the reads, and you're voting with your digital equivalent of a wallet instead of
Mm,
devoting frustration towards someone's thoughts on a game. It doesn't matter. Like,
doesn't.
it doesn't.
Well, everyone, 2 weeks in a row. Can
2
we do
weeks,
3?
maybe.
We will see you next week.
Shall see.
Bye, everyone.
So,
Noisy Pixel.